Thanks so much to everyone for joining the presentation. Ashley and Tony, thank you so much for joining us today. If anyone has questions, please put them in the Q&A. I know the session has ended, but if you want to stay for a few more minutes for the discussion, let us know if you have any questions. And then we just wanted to address, we've been watching the live chat, and there's been some discussion around the question of, can non-Indigenous organizations serve Indigenous clients, or should it be not Indigenous organizations that are tasked with this? And so I wanted to get Tony and Ashley's feedback on that question, because we've had a really interesting discussion behind the scenes.
What was the question?
So when we were talking about can non-Indigenous organizations effectively serve Indigenous people, or should that be Indigenous organizations that are responsible for that?
Oh goodness, no, I think of course, definitely. I think that non-Indigenous organizations are able to serve Indigenous people. That's pretty much the structure of the system as it stands right now. What we are talking about is having the allyship, which is as Ashley said so profoundly there, is that it is a verb. It means that if we are working with an Indigenous peoples, no matter where you are, is seeking out that support and that help, but doing it in a respectful and genuine manner, right? We were just having a discussion before, is that if we're going to ask an expert to come in and to help us, sorry, Kelly. To help us with bringing in program and having culturally appropriate programming through something. If we're not experts in that, we're going to bring an expert in. And in Indigenous culture, is our experts are knowledge keepers, our experts are elders, and they should be treated as such, as elders, and we should be able to follow protocol if we're actually wanting that help. But of course, non-Indigenous agencies can help Indigenous people, and it goes further into that. It goes further into agency period should be open to should be open to helping whatever culture. Like it's not just non-Indigenous. We're specifically really talking about racism within the agency right now.
Yeah, and for me, the conversation is really around the level of commitment, and again, I'm going to speak simply so that I don't stutter and mess up my words. It's about going beyond a surface level commitment, and what we were talking about in terms of non-Indigenous organizations supporting Indigenous people. What I was saying is that you may like the idea of hanging up, Indigenous art or a land acknowledgement, and saying that we're a culturally safe or a culturally invested organization in your annual report to the community. But you have to actually go beyond that, and you have to be open-minded, and you have to take the ego that is represented in our hierarchical, heteropatriarchal structures and move beyond that. As Tony said, it's about respecting the knowledge and the wisdom that people bring, are bringing. You have to be open to learning. You have to be open to hearing it, rather than dismissive, I suppose.
And like a good example is that we wouldn't bring in Dr. Gabor Mate and give him a $25 gift card for his experience and knowledge. And we would not go and pay a psychologist or somebody, a psychologist or, a medical expert, a $25 gift card. There's you know, a standard there, and we should be able to do that across the board with any kind of an expert we're bringing in, and that includes Indigenous. Can't hear you.
Thanks. I was muted. So seeing no more questions and being late for the plenary as we are right now, I will say again, thank you so much, Tony and Ashley. It's been great meeting you this morning, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge.
Thanks so much, Bree, and thanks, Tony.
Thanks so much for having us.